Okay, we'll try to get this mural finished today. I decided to do some dolphins, and we'll just start with a little black and white and a little extra blue mixed in with the black and white. And again, it's another day where the weather's just not cooperating outside with the lighting. So when I can get a cameraman, when I can afford a cameraman someday, I'll have better lighting, I hope. Now you'll notice that I took it, just one second, let me get a paper towel here. I took it outside of the picture just for fun, because by doing that, I'll show you with a bigger brush, by taking it outside the picture, he looks sort of like he's jumping into it. I've done that on a few murals I've done, and it just adds a nice little bit of whimsy to it. And basically, a dolphin's a big curve. And maybe we'll even put 2 dolphins in, we'll see. Okay. And there's Trevor coming to visit. He heard me start up the camera. I thought he was just going to sleep in there. It's late afternoon, about a little after 4. And he usually is sleeping. Okay, so anyway, there we go. We're getting there. And whoops, let me get a little more black. Again, I'm using black, blue, and some white. And I could get, I've done it a million different ways. I could do it with a little bit of a green mixed in there too to get an aqua appearance. And that looks nice also. I don't have any real hard and fast rules. This is that little white underbelly area that I like to make on them. Dolphins are one of my favorite critters. I grew up on the river here, and there were 2 dolphins in the river when I was growing up, and you could ride on them, well, you know, hold on to their dorsal fins, and one was named Georgie Girl, and the other one was named, she brought her mate into the river, and we named him Happy. And at least I think it was her mate back at that age. I don't know, maybe it was another female, but I don't think so. I believe she had a baby up the river there, actually. In fact, where I lived, there was a bay area, and there were manatee babies in the bay, and there were dolphin babies at one time. I didn't have that shaping right. I really need to step back and look at that at times. That would help, I guess, huh? Okay, and then nice. In fact, maybe we'll put a dolphin baby right beside this one. That would look nice. Okay. Their fins are different than sharks in that they have a curvature at the top, whereas sharks are more, well, depending on the kind of shark, most sharks have a more rectangular fin. In fact, I think I need to make this a little bit bigger for this body. There we go. I just make adjustments as I go along. Actually, I try to do things smaller than they might necessarily be, only because I can adjust up. It's very hard to adjust down. Okay? Now, if the baby's going to be coming right like this, let's get the baby on right now so I don't double dip on doing a lot of different stuff. How about that? We'll darken him up a little bit because he hasn't seen the sun as much, maybe. highlights on top of these guys, and you'll really see how they sharpen up. I realized when I look back on the video, the first video for this that I did, that it really looks as though all of these highlights in the grasses and foliage of the underwater flora are white, and they're not. I've got a lot of greens and yellows. Again, I'm just doing this with my little camera, so. When I get rich and famous, I'll change cameras for you. I think it could actually be done better if I was just filming it and instead of standing back, but oh well. Okay, let's transfer to this other brush now. I'm just going back and forth between a house painting brush that I have that I love, the chip brushes. I think I've probably mentioned that a million times. And hold on just one second. The chip brushes and just little no grade nothing brushes that I get at the cheaper big box stores, shall we say. I use those for all my murals because you never know what kind of wall you're going to work on. It's pretty rough on your brushes, and I need something that, you know, happens quick. Now that is just a little too rounded, so I'll soften it up by making it just the actual, making the front of his head a little bit bigger. Okay. There we go. Let's get some tails on both these guys. Dolphins and sharks also differ in a tail. Since a dolphin is a mammal, it has a mammal type tail for underwater. And don't quote me in the science world because I'm definitely no scientist. But their tails come out from the side of their body, the fins. If I could show you close up, I could show you what I mean. And a mammal's tail, a mammal's tail comes out from the side like that. And then a fish's tail, which a shark is a fish, a shark is not a mammal, comes from a shark's tail, and other fish tail go up and down like this from their body, whereas a mammal goes horizontally. And I'm sure there's discrepancies in that in the animal world, so again, don't quote me. Okay, let's do this other one. We'll have them overlapping a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now let's put a fin on him. Now these are sort of rectangular in shape, nothing fancy. A bunch of old classmates from where I live here in Jupiter were talking on Facebook a while back, and we were, talking about the dolphins on there because I guess a lot of the kids had the opportunity to swim with them or see them. I actually had an article in the paper that had a picture of them, so I sent that to one of my friends who's writing a book, and I've used it in my little book that I wrote about the area. I drew the picture though, I just, was doing a children's book. Okay, so there we go with our general shape, okay? And I'll come back to that after it dries in a minute. I want to get a few what I call filler fish. And for that, all I'm going to do is take a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow and red. I'm not mixing them on my brush, just picking them up, and let's see how they come out. And I just do quick little torpedo shapes, not putting a lot of, and again, this is where your systematic randomization comes in. Got to make it all over the place. We'll have them come over and visit the dolphins. That's one thing, the dolphins used to love to run up through the schools of mullet, and they'd just scare the heck out of them, and the mullet would go flying. Okay, have a couple. Well, maybe I won't. I was going to say I'd have a couple. Well, maybe I will. So you can change your mind whenever you want. That's a great thing about this. Okay, and I'm going to have one guy turning around down here, like they're going back. Okay? Now, while I'm in with the reds and everything, I think I'm going to make some red coral over here, just to have some nice color spots. Okay? There we go. Just a little bit. This is that tall strain coral. I can't tell the name of it. I can't remember some of these sometimes. There we go. Okay. Now I'll come back later and highlight that too. Now I'm going to use some just straight red and maybe a little bit of blue and just do some little bright spots down in this area. Just little nublets, like nothing big. Do it in a few places. Has to be a pretty underwater, right? Okay, I'm going to pick up a little pink and white and come back to where those are and just hit the tops. Pink and white. And it just sort of makes them glow, actually. And again, if my lighting were better, you'd probably be able to see that. Hopefully you can get an idea that they're glowing. When I do restaurants and schools and things like that, I sometimes use glow-in-the-dark paints depending on whether they have lighting for it, or how it's being seen by the patron of whatever it is, whether it's a restaurant, schools, hospitals, things like that. And there's our highlight on those. Just doing a light line down the side that I consider my light coming from. And I take a lot of license with that. I make the light come from wherever I want to, actually. Sometimes it's not totally proper where it is, but as long as it looks good, that's my thing. When I'm painting something that's supposed to be verbatim, that's different. Okay, so how's that? I'm just noticing now also that I must not have had the time to add my highlights on the sandy floor when we were doing the beginning. So that's what we'll do now. Okay? Just a couple highlights. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of white, little tiny bit of blue, get it really kind of dry brushed on my brush, and then I'm going to come back here and do sweeping little things. And crisscross just like the light would do underwater. Pick up a little bit more. This looks like the light above is glowing on the sand below. And when you dive, it really does. It glows and glows under there. A lot of times I'll add an aqua to it because sometimes it's not a pure white light. It's a very colorized light, actually. Okay? Now, after we finish this mural, I'm planning on painting this wall black and maybe doing a glow-in-the-dark painting. I haven't decided what it will be of, but I almost wish I had waited to do this one, the underwater one, as a glow-in-the-dark. We'll see. Could always do some turtles or something. Okay? So, while we're on that side of the wall, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the fish tails. Add a little bit of white and light blue. Maybe a little yellow on this one too. A little more white. I didn't have quite enough. Again, that was white, yellow, and blue. That's not white enough for you all to see. So I'll add a little more white to that. Do a fin off the top. Back fins, fill it in, bring it down. Do the same with the next guy. Fin off the top. Do the tail, fill it in. Do a thing there. I'll come back and put a little dark spot for their eyes so that they're more noticeable. Okay. I hope this is looking okay online finishing. So another thing I need to learn how to do, edit this a little bit so I can take some of the time off for you. I was thinking about getting a time-lapse thing, and I may still do that. That might make it a little easier to watch lengthwise. If anybody ever has any suggestions, leave me a message on artbysilk@yahoo.com. I forgot to put that on my last one. I'm not totally computer literate, so haven't learned everything yet. Okay, there we go. So we're just getting all the highlights done now, and then we'll be done. Except for I've got to put the eyes and highlights on the dolphin. Okay, so now we'll just dab in a little dab of dark for their eyes. When you see these guys all happening quick under the water in real life, you don't get to see much detail-wise. Whoa, forgot their eyes. There's some eyes for them, okay? Okay, now let's get the dolphin's eyes on. I usually run a line back like that. And then, okay. I don't want to make them look too fierce because actually, when you see them, they've got a very cute look. Give them a little spout. Run a little dark line in for this. Remember, use your fingers when you paint too. That's where we started from. Okay? Okay. Now, let's get finished with we'll get finished now with the highlights and be done. I have to take my mom out to dinner, or vice versa. She's taking me out to dinner. How about that? It's a pretty good deal. And I use my hands a lot in this. Not to take it all away, but, you know, just some of it. I'm just crisscrossing these lines. Maybe get a little tiny spot on my brush and get that nice sparkle in their eyes. Okay. Get the back done. Okay. There we go. Okay, now the next one. They're a bit smiley, but that's okay. We'll have them very friendly dolphins. This is Junior, or Junioress. We have dolphins off the coast here, more towards Bahamas actually, although we have some here that are spotted dolphins. And they're absolutely, I think, just gorgeous. Because they're they look like they're freckled, and since I have freckles, I like that. Okay. Didn't get enough white on the older one. I need to work that up a bit. Okay, now you need to be able to see his fin too. There we go. Okay, a couple more lines and we're done. There we go. Just following the line of the body, differentiating their tails. Come back then and smooth all that edging out. Okay. This is just the light reflecting from the surface. It's not like there's droplets on these guys. They're immersed in water, so the lighting's a little different that way. When you have them jumping out of the water, I like to have it so that I like to have it look as though they're actually drifting. Let me take a look now. Okay. Just want to add a couple highlights there. Then we're done. Just right around the mouth. Everything that would catch the light. Okay. There we go. A quickie. Next time we'll do it on black and I'll figure out what I want to do. Okay? Have fun painting.